That was a very unusual race because the weather, it was a very, very tight track, and in fact one that I'd done pretty well the year before, and I was hoping to re-perform the same sort of act, or of course to go one better and try and win the race.
Christian Saron did the expected thing in front of his home crowd, while American Kevin Schwantz and Englishman Kenny Irons added Suzuki in among the dominant Yamahas and Hondas. In diabolical weather on a diabolical track, the field streams away. One of the few things going for the track is that any accident is likely to be a slow one. Randy Momola jumps away from Gardner, while Ron Haslam and Roger Burnett lead the shortcutters across the apex of one of the chicanes. And then they turn right off the classic endurance car race track, which is 13.6 kilometres around, to the short, tight Bugatti circuit. Momola on the Lucky Strike Team Yamaha, and with Dunlops giving him grip and confidence, starts sprinting away. While Gardner second and Lawson in fourth on experimental Michelins were both finding out that they would have been better off on the standard tyres. Lap 2, and Lawson down and out of the race effectively. He skids finally to a halt. The bemused official doesn't know whether to help him or his Yamaha. And Wayne Gardner, hearing the drama behind him, runs wide and lets Christian Saron through into second place. And that suits Randy Momola and Christian Saron, pursuing him on Yamahas absolutely fine. Momola brimming with confidence. Saron fired up in front of his home crowd, trying very hard in front of Pier Francesco Chili on the V3 Honda. And Saron doing fairly well to hang on to that rear end slide. And for the champion Eddie Lawson, a retirement that he could ill afford. Already 21 points behind the series leader Gardner. Randy Momola as comfortable as he can be in these conditions. Again, turning right off the major part of the circuit. And with Christian Saron and Wayne Gardner and Pier Francesco Chili starting battle behind him. None of them men to give up. Second place, Saron. Third place, Gardner. Just ahead of Keeley. Gardner had hoped to go one better, the qualifying performance in the dry.
But unfortunately, the heavens opened up and threw it all down, and it was a difficult time. And as you know, the Michelin wet weather tyres weren't the best this season. And in fact, Dunlops were by far superior to ours. But for that race, Michelin said they had something special. Special it was. It was especially bad for the race, because it was a new type of compound they'd introduced, and it was also a new tread pattern. And basically it was the blocks that actually rolled up and blocked off the groove, and in fact it became a slick in the race.
It's still better than the tail end, who bails off and out. And it doesn't stop Gardner from coming back at Christian Saron, trying to get second place, bringing Pier Francesco Chili with him on the V3 Honda. And going down the inside of Saron, Gardner looking at second place, running neck and neck and pulling through on the Frenchman. So that despite all the excitement, Wayne Gardner now second, Christian Saron third, Healy fourth, on the V3 Honda that's much better suited to these conditions than the two more powerful machines in front. Great stuff to come back under these conditions after that sort of drama for the series leader, Wayne Gardner. tucks in behind him. Certainly hasn't finished arguing, and nor has Keeley. And this man also got his bike moving around, but still the race leader, Randy Momola, coming up to the dreadful, the antiseptic chicane area that cuts out a big, fast, sweeping right-hander. But now up into second place comes Keeley. He's got past Gardner, he's got past Saron, who's now third. Gardner slipped to fourth. The visibility's ghastly and the adhesion's almost nil. And anybody out there is game and is very skilled. Young Italian, just moving up this season from the 125 class. He's going great guns. Ahead of a former world champion. And this man hoping to be world champion this year. Flashing through puddles that threaten to send the vehicle aquaplaning off into the shrubbery. They battle onwards, and the race leader peels again onto the tight Bugatti section of the circuit after coming down under the original Dunlop Bridge. Tail enders sandwiched between him and second place Keeley, and Saron still threatening in third, still trying for second in the race he'd love to win, the French Grand Prix. V3 Honda still holding out the later V4 twin crankshaft Yamaha. And the determination and oft times the misjudgment of Saron, and the misjudgment here of Rob McElnay, who does very well finally to keep number 5 upright, while second and third motor on. And Keeley in a pretty flawless ride, very sensible, moving forward from his original placing in the opening laps, now to be in this fairly secure second place. Nothing seemingly that Saron can do about it as he wrestles with the bike, moving and squeezing around. And it's cold and it's wet and it's miserable and it's treacherous. Knows all about these sorts of conditions as he battles with Kenny Irons on the Suzuki. Elf Honda, still the Elf revolutionary machine not ready, so using a Honda very similar to Gardner's. But Ron Haslam doesn't like his bike moving around too much either, and so it's 5th and 6th position, while Momola forges ahead in first place. Again comes up to the chicane. Momola doing better when he doesn't swing his body away from the bike like some racing monkey as he does in the dry. Conservative by his standards. Here Francesco Keeley doing a grand job too through the same chicane. Very heady ride by him, holding out many more experienced riders, but helped by the little V3 Honda, about 135 horsepower. Ahead of Christian Saron on the Yamaha, number 6. Probably 155 horsepower. The extra 20 not welcome. And down goes Daniel Pourget. Lucky not to bring Keeley down, a privateer on an RS Honda similar to Keeley's V3, doing this championship race only. Keeley inside him, underneath him, and so Pourget sliding away from him. Wayne Gardner wrestling with 4th place, but still surviving where Eddie Lawson, the champion, didn't on the same tyres. And this a rider's eye view of the problems. Not pleasant. Very treacherous. Adhesion and visibility, fuel problems. Cold and it's wet. It's very treacherous. They go past the pit area that's seen the 24-hour car race since 1923. Randy Mamola, the race leader, soldiers onwards and builds his lead, ever increasing. And with just one lap now remaining, brimming with confidence. Just one lap of Mamola daring. Into the chicane for the final time. Tidy. And becoming typically exuberant. Turns right now. Off the main circuit. Into this tight infield section. Not popular with any of the riders. Mamola showing the crowd what he thinks of being in this position after nearly an hour in these dreadful conditions. The race leader really has dominated throughout the race. Now can sniff victory. Act careful, Randy. Don't spill it now. You won't be forgiven by the Lucky Strike team if you do. Now, just a little bit too early. The mind back into gear and not at all subdued. Powers through an area that becomes a car park during the June 24-hour long car race. Few hazards left for him to negotiate now. Onto the straight, to the checkered flag, victory for Randy Mamola. A well-deserved one too, very hard fought. Very satisfying in those conditions. And equally creditable, perhaps more so, for Pier Francesco Chieli in second place, his highest placing ever in 500 class racing. Signalling his pit crew. The crowd delighted to see Christian Sarron come home third. Giving as mixed a result as you'll get. And why wouldn't Randy's fiancée Alex Woods welcome him home after that sort of a ride? Giving this result. Really mixed, with Chieli on the V3 in between the Yamahas of Mamola and Sarron. Gardner hanging on for fourth, another Honda fifth, and then the Suzuki of Irons sixth. Suddenly, in an hour's work, Gardner's 19-point lead is whittled just to 12 points and is potentially vulnerable. But Lawson has started praying for miracles as the cold, hard realisation of his dire